I always talk about parents having a toolkit. And some of our parents have the tool belt and they only have a hammer. And then you have the ones that have that big bench in the garage with every tool that you could possibly imagine. My philosophy of working with parents and students is that we have to move away from a deficit-based model and really look at what parents bring to the table. Even if it's a hammer, at least they have a hammer, And
his family.
Mm-hmm. Cleveland, as many people know, is one of the poorest cities in our nation. We have about 40,000 students in our schools. We have around 25% of our students are identified with special needs, and 100% of our students are on free and reduced lunch. I have a lot of friends who live in Cleveland, who graduated from Cleveland schools. They always speak about the old days, once upon a time in Cleveland. We had this phenomenal school district, and where is it now? Everyone wants to paint the parents in Cleveland with a very broad stroke, a brush, a paintbrush, and say, all your parents, they don't care, or all your parents are illiterate, or all your parents are uneducated. But every parent that I've encountered cares deeply about their child's education. There's not a parent that I know that wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to really screw this kid up. Neither one of my parents went to college, but they always stressed the importance of education, as well as some of my other family members. And my mom, she had 6 kids, so she wasn't like the PTA mom that came up to the school every day. She worked sometimes 2 jobs to take care of our family. So I just knew that I wanted to do better, and I just feel personally, because of my background, from where I came from, my childhood, having those adults in your life that really push you to do the best and be the best that you can be, that you have, every kid needs a champion, and their parents are their champions. So as I was looking for colleges with my daughter, I was, thinking, wow, oftentimes when school districts take students to universities, we take our kids to colleges for bus tours. The only people who are on the buses are the kids, right? So what about the parents? So we organized our first tours last spring as an extension of our Parent University program. And one of the things that they said is they don't want people to do things to them or for them, but with them. So, we take the parents with us on this journey. Some of our parents have not been to college. They've never been to a college setting and seen the dormitories, eaten in in the dining hall, gone and sat in the classroom. And this is what we do on these trips.
Like even just the program and the end.
There was a parent there. She was with her daughter. I thought they were sisters, and they were skipping around the campus and holding hands. And so I went up to the 2 young ladies, I'll say, and I asked. I said, "Oh, are you sisters?" And she said, "No, I'm her mom." And I said, "Oh, what you were on the last trip?" She says, yeah. I had my daughter when I was 15, and I never had this opportunity. So when I saw these tours were available, I said, I'm going to sign up for each and every one of them because I want her to see the life. I want her to have the life that I didn't have and have the opportunities. I want to do that. I want to give my children, my kids, opportunities that I didn't have so that they can be the best person that they can be and be ready for the world that we can only imagine is coming.
Good morning, I'm Cara Lee Adams. I'm a contributing writer at Education Week, and I write the College Bound blog about the transition from high school to college and careers. We're so glad to have Tracy Hill here this morning to talk about the real importance of parent and community involvement. You've done such great things in the Cleveland Public Schools, and I'm just curious why you're so passionate about this. What kind of difference have you seen that it can make when parents are really actively involved in their kids' education?
Well, there's a lot of research out there that talks about how student achievement can be supported by having a parent that is actively involved. We know that one of the biggest predictors of a student's success is having a highly trained and effective teacher in the classroom. But we also know that if parents are involved in their students' education, if they are doing those things at home, exposing their children in the community to the resources that are there, advocating for their children and attending events at the schools, that those students have a higher likelihood of graduating from high school and then going on to post-secondary opportunities. But also, children need to see, that their parents, value education and support them, and I think it's just very, very important. As I said, I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college, and it was those adults in my life who might not have been able to be at the school every day, but did support me by telling me that it was important that I go to school, that I get that education, that I read every day, that I do my homework, so that I could be, have the opportunities that they themselves did not have. And that's what we need our parents to do. Even if they're not able to be at that school every day, we need them to be encouraging their children to do their best when they do come to school.
You've mentioned that it's easy to get parents involved at the elementary school level, and I know that from my own experience, but by the time it's middle and high school, they're not quite as engaged. Why is that, and what have you been able to do effectively to bring parents in at those upper grades?
I think at the elementary level, there are more opportunities for parents to be involved. You have the bake sales and the fundraisers and, the literacy nights and things like that, and parents are, especially when it's like your first kid or something, you're like, oh, I gotta be there, I gotta be there. I think that when kids get to middle school, we have a tendency to believe that, oh my God, they're more independent now, they're growing up, but I call those the turbulent years. I think that's when we lose a lot of our students in urban areas and maybe also in suburban areas. We have this belief that they are growing up now, that we need to let them be more independent, and we have a tendency, or I've seen, and I know myself as a parent, we tend to kind of slack off in those middle years. And also in the high school years. And that's where, when I talk to teachers and principals in our neighborhood, in our district, they're like, oh my God, how do we get these parents here? How do we get them engaged? So that's one of the reasons why we created the Parent University College Bus Tours, was to, get parents to come on board. And, we always talk about going to college. We always talk about, the post-secondary opportunities. And parents are often wondering, how do I become engaged in that process? So the bus tours was a natural fit to get our parents involved. We offer the tours to parents and caregivers of 8th to 12th graders, because we want our 8th graders and our parents of 8th graders, when they get to high school, to know that the moment that they step in that high school counts. Their attendance, their grades, everything is on that transcript that you send to a college for acceptance. So you can't slack off when you get to 9th grade. You really have to be on top of things, and we work with our parents to help them understand that, just because that kid is in high school and they're taller than you and their voices are deeper than yours, that you still have to be on top of your game. You still have to be actively involved. You're not maybe coming up to the school every day, but talking to the teachers, encouraging that student to do their homework, checking the online grade book, and checking on their attendance and
Right.
attending those conferences when you have the opportunities.
So how does the Parent University work? What do you cover? What kind of topics are covered, and how often is it offered?
Well, I visited Boston, and Michelle Brooks, one of the recipients of last year's Leaders to Learn From. When I first took this job, I was like, oh my God, what are people doing in districts like ours? And I visited, and so I replicated a wheel that was already out there and very successful and turning, and I'm just very appreciative to her friendship and mentorship. But we offer our Parent University 4 times a year. We have a large back-to-school event before school where we offer workshops for parents, and that's where we have our biggest turnout. Last year we had over 3,000 people come to this event. We had about 20 different workshops at the back-to-school fair and Parent University. And then we do a fall Saturday session all day, and a spring, actually our spring session is this Saturday, and then we have one last event before school closes out. The sessions that we offer in the Parent University Saturday sessions and our back-to-school event focus on many of the academic areas and social emotional areas that we're working on, the goals in our district. So at our Saturday event this Saturday that I need to check on after we're done, we have a class for parents to play with their children. It's an interactive play and music class, because we know that a lot of times with our technology and TVs and all these games, that people are very involved in very solitary activities, and you don't see a lot of play and interaction between parents and kids. So we have that. We have a read every day. We have a behavior class, so parents understand developmentally what their kids are going through and how to better, in more positive ways, address behaviors. We have a workshop on the Common Core, Springboard, which is a curriculum we're doing for our 6th to 12th graders, and a wealth of other ones. We have a Naviance career and college readiness software. I don't know if any other districts are using that, but our 6th to 12th graders use this as a tool to help them plan their trajectory as they prepare for college and post-secondary education. There's a parent portal, so we have a class for parents in the lab so that they learn how to access that.
How do you know what to offer? There's so many different topics. How have you reached out or maybe surveyed parents?
We do a lot of surveying, but we, like many other districts, have a parent advisory committee that meets monthly. So when the RFPs are come in, there's a committee of parents who actually review those. The workshops and help us decide what to offer. We do also do a lot of surveying with all of the changes in Cleveland with the Cleveland Plan and our reform and transformation efforts. We do a lot of community meetings and community engagement, so we use a variety of survey mechanisms. We do paper surveys, online surveys, and also phone surveys, because people are more apt to take a survey when you're calling them at their home.
Right. You sound like you've offered so much to families, and I'm curious if you could share with everyone a little bit of the idea of your community wraparound schools and the idea that you're really much more involved in the community beyond education to connect with families.
Yeah, my job is family and community engagement, so I work with the academic department and many other departments around different strategies that we've implemented in the district. The community wraparound strategy is not new. There are many districts using the model. Seattle, Cincinnati. Actually, there's a conference next week in Cincinnati that I'll be attending. But the community wraparound schools provide an opportunity for us to bring in partners and aligned resources to the needs of a school and of those families. So we have a lot of support in Cleveland. We have the benefit of being in a city that is on the verge of another renaissance. There's a lot of renovation and new industries in our cities, particularly around technology and medical, the medical mart. So we have people, our city, our foundations, our medical community, our business partners, our community agencies, they want to be in our schools, and we welcome them. And we provide a framework for them to come in and provide those services in schools. Actually, we have now with Metro Health Hospital 2 health clinics in 2 of our wraparound schools, so that parents who might not have access to health care because of various reasons can actually come to the school and see a doctor in the school.
Well, that's great. In the last few seconds here, I'm just curious maybe what advice you'd offer to those who might be inspired by the work that you've done, how to get started in this. Is it resource intensive, or is it just a matter of dedication? What does it take to get an effort like this going?
Well, it's resource intensive, but you also have to have the leadership in place. Our CEO, Eric Gordon, and leaders before him have made an investment, a sound investment in family and community engagement. I'm not the first executive director, and I'm sure I won't be the last. For over 25 years, this position has existed in the district because they understand that families and community are important to schools, that schools cannot do it by themselves. And then also utilizing Title I funding for parent involvement. We do receive 100% funding for our district, and making sure that there's a set aside that focuses specifically on parent engagement.
Please join me in thanking Tracy for sharing her expertise. Thank you.